Wat Kon Laeng, situated outside the city to the east. A large group of ancient monuments on a vast area of land enclosed by a ditch. The temple consists of the main bell-shaped Chedi with 32 elephant sculptures around its base. So the surrounding of water, in accordance with the concept of Udakasima, whatever that is. This was built by a nobleman who was the husband of a wet nurse named Tet, T-H-E-T. He was very loyal to the major guy around here, the king, and entered the monkhood. But when the king passed away, he gave a piece of land here for this purpose, apparently. He also made a Buddha image, planted a Phra Samahapho, in other words, a Bodhi tree. But he also made a stone Buddha image in dedication to the dead consort of Phra Maha Dharmaja Litai, the king. That's interesting. Okay, this is an artist's rendition of what this structure would have looked like originally. From the side that we're looking at now. So let me pan it. So the front would have been a low level enclosure, but a roof line that was high enough at the bottom of the roof line to allow us to see the elephants from here through the colonnades. This would have looked pretty much like it was in the sense of height and design. And then the low building, and then the structure to the right, this area over here, would have been a high temple with the Naga spirit deflectors at the corners. And this would have been another Chedi right here. Perhaps the one to the king's consort. And if that doesn't raise eyebrows and cause for investigation, I'd like to know what does. Now here we have the view from above looking down. Just geometrically it's very pretty, isn't it? Well, it comes as no surprise that what we're intrigued with and we want to take a close look are each of these elephants. Two in the corner here, well preserved it looks like. The others have suffered damage from the weather. Mainly the loss of their trunks. It's interesting that the two elephants at the two corners we've looked at have survived apparently the best. So as we work from south to west to north, it looks like the destruction increases, or the degradation, or whatever you want to call it. Here at the northwest corner, the destruction's the most, and then it starts to get better as we go to northeast. And there again, at least 3 out of the 4 corners elephants are presumably the best preserved. Although this one in the middle here looks pretty good. Let's get in closer. I'm guessing that this is a restoration. That's why they look so good. Particularly the ears, you can see it, but the whole face and trunk of this one. And so also with this one, I believe. There we can see the ditch that was built to surround it with water. Interestingly enough, it looks like this ditch gets some kind of use, at least probably during the monsoon season. Whether it's used to catch fish, whether that's some kind of weir or not, I don't know. Well, I'm looking into the temple now, and where the Buddha would have been down there, where there would have been, that wall would have been some kind of a altar type of place for the Buddha, but we would not have been able to see the Chedi beyond it. I wanted to get a look at this tree's beautiful flowers. And here's what one of the actual flowers look like. Isn't that beautiful? I wonder what it looks like on the inside. Let's make sure we've seen it. But look at the angles and so forth, and the sweep of that blade, if you will, at the top. Okay, it's like a closed cup, and here I've opened it up and you can see what remains inside. What that is, seeds or whatever, I don't know. Okay, the elephants are located right where the 7 is, and right where the 36 is, or pretty close to it, is where I rented the bicycle and then went north and then west on this map. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit from where the elephants are, come back up and then take that road that's on the perimeter, the east perimeter of the center part of the park, and follow it down over here to 10, and I think that's number 9. Okay, where I am is right where my thumb is pointing to that curve, or that 90 degree in the road, and I'm about where that first temple icon is, and route to these two. And it may not look like it's a long distance away, but actually it is. I think it's 2 or 3 or 4 kilometers. It's fun to be out in the tules here. It's farmland. I hear a pump going over, so it's probably an irrigation pump. And the sun is cranking pretty good right now. It's probably close to 12 noon. Here's my conveyance for today. This is the clever little lock. You push this down. Now it's locked. Take the key out. That's it. Now the guy can't go anywhere. Take the bike. Can't ride it hard till he gets this thing off. To get it done, you just push this thing back in here. Click it forward like that. Key's locked in there. The lock opens up and you're ready to go. Yeah, I'm now at Wat Chetuphon, and this temple is famous for 4 Buddha images of vast size in 4 different postures: sitting, reclining, standing and walking, enshrined in a mandapa with porch on 4 sides. The small mandapa, whatever we think that is when we get in there, is notable because it has black floral designs like those on Chinese wares. Another striking figure is their boundary wall has 4 porches. Not quite sure what they mean by porches, but the wall has a frame and a balustrade made of large slabs of thick slate imitating woodwork. A fellow on a motorcycle just drove in. It has a red cross on it. Can't see it, it's on the sides, but I'm hoping it was in anticipation of caring for me, but who knows. So this building we're used to, and there would have been Buddhas, a big Buddha, and this would have been covered portico. And now we're going to this. Now I forget how I pronounce this, but it's interesting how it sounds like mastaba, or which was one of the early Egyptian tomb designs. Now this is a walking Buddha, easily made out. But it's interesting to look at these walls here, which are composed of rectangular slabs, whether they're prefab or whether they were hewn, I don't know. But let's look at the far one there, which looks intact. And I believe these are actual slabs that must have been hewn. In other words, their edges made straight. This, of course, is a cement restoration. This is interesting because it looks like something you'd find in the Greek or the Egyptian or Cyprus or someplace like that, I'm guessing. But these big monoliths. And I'm guessing that this mantaba or mastaba or whatever I called it is just this big, if you will, rectangular wall that holds sculpture on both sides, and of course provides an opportunity for, I suppose, altar equivalents on both sides. Well, certainly looking at this, you have to say all the stonework of Europe, particularly England, well, England, France, all of those, the Celtic. Those are pretty substantial blocks of stone. And you would imagine that not only did they have a unique access, as opposed to others, to this kind of stone, but they had developed a skill for working it, because I haven't seen it anywhere else. Nothing like it. Everything else is like that pillar to the right, brick covered with cement. and sculpted. There's a lovely breeze right here, right now. That's why I'm sitting down, trying to enjoy it while it lasted. And you'll notice that the floor of this compound is the same kind of stone. So this must have been very unique and rather very pretty in its way when it was fresh. I think this is what they're calling porches. There appears to be one on all four sides, but two of them have collapsed, I think. All this looks like it might have been restored. Whether it's original or not, I don't know. There's some suggestion in those upper stones that there was an attempt to make an arch, but I don't know. And the remains of a Buddha in there. Here's a shell that I found on the ground. Just thought I'd take a look at that. It's a pretty good sized snail. This is Wat Kon Laeng. It's not the one I'm looking for, I don't think. It's supposed to be important because the base is made of laterite while everything else is made of usual brick. Notice the interesting base for that Chedi. This is not the one I had come to see, so I have to backtrack. Wat Chetuphon was the one I forgot to see when it was directly across from the one I was looking at. So I had to pedal back. So this one has relief stuccos around the base of the main Chedi, depicting men and women in different attire with ornaments. Their hands hold vessels with floral symbolizing fertility and prosperity. Decorative stuccos also include elephant and lion images. Here we can barely make out the remains of the left leg of the Buddha, but we're here to look at the reliefs on the Chedi. So notice here's the simile of what we've seen in that other temple just a few minutes ago with these huge slabs of rock. Same thing being achieved with brick. Okay, we'll just wander around, see if we can see what this is. I'm guessing that these are elephants here, although that reminds me of a hippopotamus. And there are princesses in the Buddhist religion. Forget what their function is now. Don't know that the Buddhas had consorts. Here's the close-up look of the top of a Chedi. And probably those symbols that are in the two hands would be fertility and whatever the other one was. This is interesting. It's something, maybe a Buddha, on top of probably an elephant. I thought this was going to be a milk tea, but you see it's soy milk. But it's good, particularly on a cold day. I mean a hot day. This is Wat Kon Laeng. Back the dirt road starting, believe it or not, and then it turns to a narrow cement road, and then there's just a path leading in here. But theoretically there are ceramic votives, and I think votives are little tokens of remembrance that people will leave. I didn't know that the Egyptians had them, and others that I've known of. So that's what I'm looking for. I don't see anything like that. But now what is interesting about this, here in brick you see the outline of the Buddha. See his left leg coming down, his right leg on top of it. There's torso. This is the remains of the Chedi. I don't see any ceramic votives, and I'm guessing if there are any, they were taken away and put in a museum. As votives, they're temporary by nature, or at least transportable by nature, mobile. and they would have been stolen if not taken.